Welcome to this report commentary with Danish medtech company listed on First North in Stockholm, 2cureX, and with me I have its CEO, Fernando Andreu. Please welcome, Fernando.
Thank you, Matthias. Good morning.
Since you are new to this channel and maybe to some in our audience, could you please give us a brief of 2cureX and what it is that you do?
Sure. What we do is we offer a unique drug sensitivity test for oncologists. This is to guide oncologists when they have to make a decision. Just picture the situation. Every time an oncologist has to start the treatment on a patient, they don't know whether this treatment is going to work with this patient or not, or which treatment would work better because of the individual characteristics of this patient. And these drugs are usually expensive drugs and they are toxic drugs. So you only want to give them when you're sure it's going to bring some benefit. This is what we do. So our test called IndiTreat is based on, we receive samples, biopsy samples with living tumoral cells in our labs. And we create, in our lab, we create three-dimensional replicas, biological replicas of the original tumor, hundreds of them. And then we test on these replicas, we test the different drugs and drug combinations that the oncologist can use. With this, we create a profile because we see how the tumoroids are reacting to these drugs. And then we create a profile that we send back to the oncologist. And that's the guidance for then providing a really personalized treatment decision-making. We have 3 CE mark tests already based on this platform technology. We have 3 colorectal cancer guidance tests. And as of now, as I said, we are offering this throughout Europe as a test that we perform in our central labs in Copenhagen.
That sounds like a very important market that you address. What can you tell us more about your commercial rollout?
Well, we are present nowadays. We are present in 20 countries across Europe. In some of these countries, we have direct operations. We have a sales team that is addressing oncologists and pathologists in the hospitals. In most countries, what we have are distributors. These distributors are typically high-level diagnostic distributors, so they have already portfolio of complementary products to our IndiTreat test. They are regularly visiting oncologists, pathologists in the hospitals. They are well established in their countries. And with this, in a relatively short period of time, in the last couple of years, we have already reached out to more than 174 hospitals. That's the number at the end of Q1. And we have these conversations going on with these hospitals in different stages of maturity. From the moment we make the first presentation to the hospital to the moment they would start buying. So we have these 174 ongoing conversations. As of today, it's a little bit more than that. But that's where we are. So we are very happy with the reach that we are getting through our distributors.
Yes, and in Q1 you launched a updated version of your Specimen collection set. Can you tell us what this consisted of, and when will you get a CE certification?
Sure. So our Specimen collection set is, so we ship that to the hospitals. Well, our distributors ship that to the hospitals because this contains everything that is required from the hospital to collect the sample and store the sample and ship it to us in the right conditions. So the set contains things like, for example, the transport buffer or a temperature logger, because the samples have to reach us with under control temperature. So what we have done in this new sample collection set that we launched in Q1 is we have a new buffer that gives us better stability for the cells. Very importantly, we have made it much smaller, which means that on the one side, there is less cost of transport, but then on the other side, it's also easier to store at the hospital. Typically, hospital labs have limited space, so it's a smaller footprint. That's very important. Then we have also the new design. We have changed our corporate identity, our logo color palette, etc. So it has already the new design. And the changes we have made are now making it IVDR compliant. Probably your audience is familiar with this. We are transitioning in Europe from a regulation which was called IVD to IVDR. So now with this, this kit is already compliant with IVDR requirements. And this means that we expect, nowadays, it is still CE marked under IVDD, but we expect to have it CE marked under IVDR before summer.
Okay. You recently also published the results of the TICC study. What was the most important in this report?
Well, the TICC study was finished already a couple of years ago, and the first view of the results was already published in ASCO 2021 as a poster. Now we have finally the full publication, and what is most important to highlight in this is the TICC trial is still, as of today, the largest prospective interventional trial where the therapy has been guided with a drug sensitivity test. And what is very important to highlight is that the results showed the clinical impact, the benefit for the patient in using such type of guidance. Because in normal, these are stage 4 third-line patients, very at the very end of their journey. They have been already treated with a number of things, so there are not many options there. Typically, in the control group, after 8 weeks of the treatment, only 20% of patients have been able to stabilize the disease. 80% of patients, the disease has progressed. When the therapy was guided with IndiTreat, the percentage was 50%. So we moved from 20% of patients with stable disease to 50% of patients with stable disease after 8 weeks of treatment. And this is an outstanding achievement that is directly related to the use of IndiTreat as a guidance.
Absolutely. And if we move on to the numbers, your total operating income sums up to 794,000 Swedish kronas in Q1 compared to 434,000 in Q1 2022. What is driving this growth?
I mean, most of this revenue is still coming from grants, both in 22 and in 23. So what we have seen in Q1 is, when you compare it to Q1 2022, is the effect of having more grants that we were awarded in the past. So we have been historically very successful in raising non-dilutive funding through grants. What is important to mention here is that in this figure in Q1, the grants that we have been awarded recently are not obviously included. The impact of this will be seen in the remaining quarters of the year.
Yes, you received a grant from the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research, 1 million euro granted together with 2 partners. How will this grant be used, and why are grants so important besides the financing?
Yeah. Actually, we have received within days, one from the other. We have received the news of being awarded 2 grants. One is this one from the BMBF that you mentioned, Matthias, and this is together with Hans Schicker Institute in Freiburg and together with IMTech, which is an institute also there. And this is directly related to our automation project. And the automation project is very strategic for us because as I mentioned before, today we are present in Europe, and our model is that we are receiving the samples in our central lab. The automation project will allow us to decentralize the testing. Therefore, it is for us the opening to going beyond Europe, to addressing the US and to addressing the Asian market. So it's very important. We have a long-standing relationship with Hans Schicker Institute and IMTech. Actually, this is the second grant from the BMBF for this project, and we are very proud of that, because this means also that we have delivered on the first one, and that we are a reliable partner. We have also received a slightly smaller grant from the Danish Innovation Fund, And this is not in collaboration with anybody. This is entirely for 2cureX. And this one is related to IndiTreat Neo, which is the next test that we are developing and we are going to launch. And our current 3 tests, IndiTreat Start, Extend, Explore, are directed to guide therapy in metastatic colorectal cancer patients. And what is new about IndiTreat Neo is that it is addressing early stage colorectal cancer patients. So we are expanding the reach and the number of patients that can benefit from IndiTreat.
Fantastic. And why is it important with grants besides the financing?
Well, I think grants is first. Grants are highly controlled in the way how we are using the money. So repeatedly receiving these grants is also for us a sign of recognition, if you want, of the maturity of the company, of the delivery of the company, and that's always very important.
Your cash position looks pretty strong. You have 34.8 million by the end of Q1, and that sufficiently capitalized your fund ongoing until the second quarter in 2024. What are your plans for your more long-term financing?
Sure. So yes, it is a comfortable position in the sense that we have a quite long runway ahead of us. But of course, we have ambitious plans. I mean, this is this segment of drug sensitivity testing is now starting to explode, and after many years of 2cureX leading this space, now comes the moment to really capitalize and leverage all this. Therefore, what we want is actually to accelerate our commercial rollout, to accelerate the automation program, to accelerate the further development of our technology. Therefore, what we are constantly looking at all funding options, dilutive and non-dilutive, but also including strategic partnerships, including M&As, etc. At this point, I cannot disclose any specific plan, but what I can say is that we have a specific team who is constantly evaluating, looking at all the options.
Thank you. And my last question, how does your IP portfolio look, and what does it mean with the new European patent court to companies like you?
Sure. We are very happy with this development because we have solid IP. We have patents protecting the key steps of our IndiTreat technology. Until now, enforcing these patents in Europe was complicated because you have to do it country by country, as opposed to the US, for example, where you have a unified court. So what is happening after 1st of June is that there will be a unified patent system in Europe and a unified patent court, and this means that it is simpler and it is cheaper for a company like us, for a company with limited resources, to enforce your IP in front of potential infringements, etc. So in a way, we think it makes our IP portfolio more actionable, and from this perspective, I think more valuable as well.
Fernando Andreu, CEO at 2cureX, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Matthias, for having me, and speak to you soon.